Hello. So, I wanted to record a little bit of additional content, and specifically, I want to talk about what actually occurred with this when we hit the pandemic, and obviously we're still in it, and all that other stuff. One of the things when a company has built up over time, you have certain things internal, certain things that you're used to, and, it could be file storage, it could be whatever. All of these things are there over the course of time. People are used to them. And with the cloud, people were starting to slowly shift. The thing is, when everybody got sent home, everything shifted overnight. I mean, everything. So what you did, one day was suddenly just radically changed the next. And it's not that people couldn't adjust. People could. People are pretty flexible. You give them enough time and, everything. But what happened was the services that we relied on took a hit. And I'm going to give you an example here. So, when this all occurred, we started teaching online. And we were using the record function within Blackboard, saving our videos, doing all that fun stuff. Here's the problem. Blackboard for MATC and a lot of other schools is hosted in AWS. You pay, now as you go through these lessons, you pay for everything you use. Every CPU cycle, every kilobyte of RAM, every little bit of storage. So you go from a pile of teachers, and then not just MATC, but all schools. You go from, hundreds and thousands of teachers teaching in person to suddenly recording and posting their lectures. Well, you post them in Blackboard. And here's the thing. You got to pay to store them in there. And you pay by every gig, every, whatever you store. Plus, you pay for the data coming out of the cloud to your students. So where MATC storage might have been, let's say, 200 gig or whatever, whatever it was, suddenly could balloon to petabytes of storage because now you have all these people chewing up that resource. And it's not the people's fault, it's not the school's fault, it's the modality of what was being done suddenly changed. You saw companies that were reliant on Zoom for maybe once a week meetings or something, suddenly they're living off that. And their Zoom bills went through the ceiling. I mean, it's nuts. Oh, excuse me. All of the infrastructure that everyone was so used to suddenly ballooned up into this massive, massive big bills. Now, a lot of the cloud providers, Zoom and all that, cut big discounts and, all that other stuff, and that's great. But there's still a bill there. And that bill did go up. I mean, don't second guess that. That bill, in some places, went up, $30,000 a month. Easy. And you got to pay it. If you don't pay it, they shut your service off. It's just what it is. But that was the modality of a lot of these companies switching from what they did inside four walls to transitioning to cloud services. And that's a lot of places got hit with this. MATC typically had a very good policy about providing, all faculty and, people all had desktops. Nobody really got laptops. That policy is going to change. Okay, they're going to go to all laptops versus desktops for the obvious reason. I know Marquette University had a policy of nobody got desktops, everyone got a laptop. So when they got sent home, it was kind of easy. But they didn't do that because they were getting ready for a pandemic. It was just easier for them, and less desk space and all that other junk. So how do you know? How do you know, when people look at contingency plans and you're going to do all this stuff, as you look at the after effects of everything going on, it definitely changed the way people look, they think, and all that other stuff. And the cloud piece and, the virtualization and how it's fundamentally changed things is such a big deal. Because at the end of the day, it changed how companies have to adjust to things. And it changed the modality in how they work and what they're going to do. And this goes for so many technologies. This goes for email in the cloud. Okay, where you had email on site, now it's in the cloud. SharePoint, obviously the Zoom, the Microsoft Teams, all that stuff. All these technologies took off from the remote side, and there was a big investment in that. A year ago, there was a massive investment in bringing all this stuff online, and now that it is online and it's all fairly well shaken out, companies aren't going to let that go. There's too much of a time investment in there. So you're definitely going to see a continued shrink of footprint on site in that. And that's also enabling all these people to work from home and, that whole debate. But there is definitely a lot of things that have changed, the scope has changed, where it won't go back to the way it was. It won't be fully the way it was during a lockdown. It's going to be somewhere in the middle. And IT people are going to have a foot in both sides of this new world. And that's a trick. That is not easy to do. That is brutal. Because, to a degree, you're kind of supporting like home equipment now and bring your own device and all that. That's not how it was supposed to be, but that's not how it ended up being. And it's like, oh boy. So flexibility is going to be key. So again, just wanted to bring in this little bit of additional content. But a couple stories of how something kind of went a little, it didn't go south, but it just went unexpected. And like anything, whenever something's unexpected, it usually costs more. That is, just the way it works, and gotta have fun with it. So again, name's Brian Kirsch. Thank you for watching.